Well, Australia is the place to be for international retail chains, names like Costco, Gap, Zara, Topshop, all setting up shop on our shores. Here to take us through the emerging trend in retail and consumer spending, Chris Hitchen from the price comparison website Getprice. He's the CEO, in fact. And welcome once again, Chris. And this is really interesting because it's something we've even been chatting about in the studios here in the newsroom, about all these new brands coming to Australia. What's the kind of interest that they've got in this market, given we've got such a much smaller population, really?
Small population, but they spend a lot online. It's a $10 billion market online, if you think of just about physical goods. So big market, and the Australian consumer is known to actually spend more per purchase online than some international markets. The other thing, of course, is the lag effect of the big Australian retailers who haven't really gone online in a full force just yet.
So they're seeing an opportunity to get ahead of that.
Big opportunity, and the problem that you've got here is the retailers who are online in Australia haven't necessarily invested that much and haven't been that aggressive. So all of a sudden you've got the big Australian multi-channel guys about to invest, and you've got the international players coming in. So those who have sort of been dappling in online in Australia are going to find themselves competing against much bigger businesses.
And are they doing the research? The thing is, the irony is they surely must be tracking and seeing, well, if it's working in some markets with some big household name department stores, well, surely we will make that investment. What is holding them back?
So we absolutely will make that investment. Those multi-channel retailers are already doing that. There's a lag effect from when they start investing to when we actually see that change online. So you'll see over the next sort of 12 to 18 months, the really big named Australian retailers coming online in a big way. And for them, it's less about the website piece, more about the back-end logistics and fulfilment. How do we make that work, whether we're a franchise or a sort of a multi-owned store proposition?
But you're saying they're really going to have to meet that challenge, which is going to come with these offshore retailers who've already got sophisticated online presence.
Yeah, the difficulty is, or the danger is, if they're benchmarking themselves against each other in the Australian market, they're going to get shocked by the big guys coming in who've been doing this for 10 years. Yeah, and really these big guys have been sitting on the sidelines waiting for the market to mature, and they're now coming in full force. And it's not just the retailers, it's investors too. Private equity investors are coming into the market, investing in online shopping businesses, lots of different models. And we're just seeing this whole change in the industry right now. The Australian consumer is spending a lot online in Australia.
The really interesting thing, though, Chris, is if you look at some of the products that people are looking for, you've got the Apple products, the suite of them. Yeah. You've got your skincare ranges like your Dermalogica brands and things. These are items, it would seem to me, that are fairly exclusive to the actual manufacturer themselves. That is to say, Apple isn't even widely available in a lot of stores other than an Apple store because retailers can't make money off it. The margins are so small, right? That's why Harvey Norman won't stock it. So is it the case that for those companies that otherwise sell a broader range, they're not persuaded because there's not the demand evidenced here that people are looking for sofas online, that they're looking, for barbecues. I know you stock that on Getprice, but they don't come through on the stats.
Look, I think when you compare barbecues and those sorts of things to iPads and iPhones, it's difficult. The volume-wise, the interest in iPads and iPhones is just insane. It always is. The interesting thing there is that those ones we know, there's not a big price discrepancy across the market, as you say. So why are they on there? Well, what they're doing is they're comparing the offer from the retailer. So who's going to give me the better warranty, the better service, the better delivery speed, those sorts of things, and that's what they're comparing. It's not all about price.
There was an interesting it was a splash, really, in the Sunday Telegraph in Sydney just a few weeks back. Spokespeople from eBay, JB Hi-Fi, talking about our postal service in Australia and whether that's good enough. I was actually recently interviewing the CEO and the chairman of Australia Post. They're vigorously defending the reliability, of course, and they take the brand very seriously at Australia Post. But how do you think that postal system compares here? Because naturally, I mean, if you haven't got a good postal system, this whole online shopping thing's not going to work out. Yeah,
look, reliability and so on, I'm not sure if that's the problem. I certainly think that Australia Post, the pricing is an issue for a lot of retailers. So, yeah, and there's much more competition in more mature markets like the US. So retailers have the choice. And they can often offer free shipping, for example, for consumers, which makes a big difference. In Australia, you might go and buy a $20 bottle of perfume and find that you have to pay $15 for delivery. That's an issue. Yeah. And until that changes, it is one factor that's holding back online commerce.
Speaking of holding back, do you think actually, amidst all the hype about Zara coming down here, about Gap opening up, neither of which have really said firmly that they will, there's been a lot of speculation. Do you think that could actually be delayed, and in turn the retailers delay the rollout of these plans for an online presence? Just because this consumer now clearly is changing its habits.
Yeah, so but remember, 10 billion is what's being spent by Australian consumers online right now for physical goods. It's a really big number. So the local Australian retailers will not hold back their plans. They've employed the people and the teams to do it. They're putting the systems in place, often with overseas consultancies and so on advising them. Whether the international retailers come in, we're talking about, you know, worldwide, lots and lots of retailers looking at this market. So whether one or two hold back, perhaps, but will it have a big effect? I don't think so. The local market is booming all of a sudden. And of course it's great news for consumers because the choice is there, both in terms of pricing and in terms of the type of service you get from those retailers.
Who actually has these plans in the pipeline? You say it's the back office and all of that they need to get going, so there's the lag time. Who's got the plans in the making that we can expect to be coming online with a sophisticated retail presence online?
Yeah, at the moment it's almost a case of you name it from sort of the top 100 ASX listed companies. I mean, the Myers, the DJs, the Harvey Normans, the JB Hi-Fis, all of them.
I want Bunnings online, so I don't have to line up every Saturday. Bunnings.
I want Bunnings online as well.
Will they do it? That's too hard.
Look, I think they'll get there. I think
do they do that overseas in the United States, the UK, like big hardware stores? Do
absolutely, yep. And they're a raging success. Look, they'll get there, but they're not going to rush into it, right? They're going to plan it and they're going to do it properly.
What would you be ordering from there that you wouldn't be wanting to sort of touch and feel?
Well, you can't
and
order the sausage sandwich out the front, sorry. Maybe you do have to still go to the store.
It gets you in the door.
But I thought the other interesting thing was, in the kind of stuff that you're looking at, there was that recent online retailer expo, and Clive Peters came up as one of the winners.
Look, it's
figure that one out.
The business is still going, right? It's in administration, but it's still going. The website is fantastic. You know, they did a great job on that. I'm not sure about the rest of the business, but the website itself was fantastic. And other winners in that...
That's a supreme irony, isn't it? So there's a business that's kind of a business in name alone pretty much now, but the online investment didn't save it.
Yeah, and you saw ABC Shop won the Australian Retailer of the Year, which is fantastic. They put a lot of investment in that. It's a great website.
Yeah. They're not even owned by ABC anymore, are they?
I'm not sure.
I think they sold out. So. Yeah. Anyway.
One final question, or towards the final question. I think we're almost out of time. But this shift to value and deal hunting, I suppose, for us still in Australia with such an unsophisticated online presence for so many retailers, it really just becomes about price. You mentioned the postage is still pretty expensive. Is there much opportunity to be comparing different aspects in terms of customer service? How do you translate that online and get that as a point of difference? So
certainly at Getprice, we've tried to move away from this focus of just price. We're really about trying to get people to understand that the cheapest price is not always the best deal. Check the warranty, and we can do all of this in a grid format to help you compare on one page. Check the warranty, the delivery times, the service features, the refund policy, all of those things, really, really important.
Are you thinking of a name change?
No.
Comparisons are us.
Look, I think the important thing is that pricing is still obviously a massive issue, and it's the primary feature, but it's not the only thing people are comparing.
Right.
Chris, it's been so good to have you on. Thank you very much. We'll chat hopefully again soon. Thanks. Good to see you in Sydney too. Okay. Chris